conflict in the Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo has been ongoing for decades, and you cannot talk about the conflict without mentioning Rwanda's alleged involvement, particularly with the backing of the M23 rebels. I sat down with Rwandan Foreign Minister and we discussed that, among other issues. Thank you so much, Your Excellency, Mr. Olivier Nduhungirehe, the Rwandan Foreign Minister, for making time for this one-on-one conversation. I want us to start with the elephant in the room, which is the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Just what will it take to end this conflict in the DRC that has spanned on for decades, from the Rwandan perspective?
Thank you very much for inviting me. Actually, today there is good momentum for peace in Eastern DRC, because now we have a process, an Africa-led process between the East African community and the SADC. The two regional communities were, in a way or another, involved in this conflict. And now they came together. There is a process, and the last summit, virtual summit that took place on 24th of March, appointed a team of facilitators, 5 facilitators, but now there are 4 because one declined for different reasons. But those remaining 4 facilitators were briefed by the co-chairs, especially President Ruto of Kenya, who is also chairperson of the East African Community. And now they are ready to start consultations and start working for peace in Eastern DRC. And as a complement to this Africa-led process, there are also the meetings in Doha that you heard about, the meeting between President Kagame and President Tshisekedi, which was an important confidence-building measure, because it was the first meeting between the two leaders since September 2022. Now we believe that with the political will and good faith, we can achieve results and lasting peace in Eastern DRC.
Is there political goodwill to find lasting peace in the DRC?
That is the elephant in the room, as you said, because in the past there were several agreements. You know, since the end of the Second War of DRC in 1999, which was concluded by a ceasefire signed in Lusaka, there were not less than 10 agreements. But none of them was fully implemented because of the lack of good faith and political will, mainly from Kinshasa. And we believe now that for any agreement, for any process we get into, it is important to ensure that there is political will. Because you remember the Luanda process and the Nairobi process. Those two processes collapsed because of this very issue of good faith and the political will, and also the lack of willingness of the DRC government to engage into direct talks with the M23. But now there is, the DRC government has evolved on this issue, and then we believe that it's a breakthrough for peace in the region.
But you're saying lack of goodwill from the Kinshasa side, lack of attending meetings from the Kinshasa side. What role does Rwanda have in all of this?
Our role, you know, Rwanda, this year we are commemorating for the 31st time the genocide against the Tutsi. And as we were rebuilding ourselves, transforming ourselves with the really bold reforms that we put in place to attract investors, to fight corruption, to promote women, to protect the environment. On the other side of the border, there was those that the army and the militias that committed genocide, who were entertained, who were financed, who were supported, armed by different successive government in Congo. Now it's the group that took the name of FDLR now as we speak. And since 2018 alone, Rwanda suffered no less than 20 attacks from this group. This is why we put in place defensive measures against this threat. And we have agreed actually last year on 25th of November, the Foreign Minister of DRC and myself, with the facilitation of the Foreign Minister of Angola, Antonio Tete, we signed an agreement, a concept of operations for the neutralization of these FDLR and the lifting of Rwandan defensive measures. So we have a good basis
what
to work
Rwandan
together.
defensive measures are these? If you could take us through them.
Those are military measures to defend ourselves against those attacks I was talking about. Those military measures are also include operations which are targeted, which are dynamic, and that are proportionate to the threat. I hear very often a confusion between those measures and what they call support to the M23. The M23 is a Congolese movement supporting or defending a Congolese community that was historically marginalized, persecuted by the DRC government. You know that this community is a community of Rwandan culture and Rwandan language. It's not because of it's not the fault of the DRC, it's not the fault of Rwanda, it's the fault of the colonial powers that divided artificially our borders. But nonetheless, those communities are Congolese. And the M23 is a Congolese movement that is coming from that community. And it's the M23 that is taking territory, that took Goma, that took Bukavu and other cities in eastern DRC. It's not Rwanda. So people confuse the two. We, of course, have a common enemy, the FDLR, because the FDLR, which committed genocide in Rwanda, which is attacking regularly our territory, is also the enemy of the M23, of that community, because it has been attacking also the Congolese Tutsi over the past 30 years. So we should not confuse the two.
But sir, there is evidence from the United Nations, from the UN, that M23 is backed by Rwanda. They have satellite images. We have seen photos of Rwandan forces in the DRC, and there is concrete evidence put together by the UN, and not just now, from years back, that proves, according to the UN again, that M23 is backed by Rwanda.
Not at all. There is no single evidence proposed by the UN.
What do you say to the images we've seen, to the satellite, the pictures that we have
see satellite images of soldiers on the ground. I don't think that Rwandan soldiers have Rwanda on their face. So it's they show from afar pictures of soldiers and they claim that they are Rwandans. This is not an evidence at all. And then we have that group of experts. You know, the group of experts of the UN on DRC is a group of I think 5 persons. They claim out of nowhere that there are 4,000 Rwandan troops in eastern DRC. But how did they, is it an evidence? They just claim and throw out a figure in a report without any evidence. So, you know, how come Rwanda, if Rwanda is in eastern DRC, how come we don't have any single soldier who was killed, who was wounded, who was taken prisoner by the DRC government or by any other force in eastern DRC presented to the media as a known Rwandan soldier?
But there is a lack of consistency because, and I'm referring to interviews that have been done by your president, Rwandan President Paul Kagame, because all along he has maintained no, Rwanda does not back M23. But in a recent interview, he said, I don't know. What is I do not know? What is that?
It's because of you, journalist, because you have been asking him this question over and over again. He has been responding to this question very clearly.
I want us to talk about minerals in the DRC, which again Rwanda has been accused of exploiting.
Yes.
What do you have to say about that?
Oh, this is a lazy argument because, first of all, Rwanda is sitting on the same geological rock as the DRC. We have plenty of minerals. We have the 3Ts, we have lithium, we have gold. You have seen actually recently, 2 days ago, the special advisor of President Trump in one of the mining sites in Rwanda. So we have plenty of minerals. Second, this was, I was calling it a lazy argument because this story of M23 supported Rwanda invading Congo for minerals, it's really a pretext for people not to get into the bottom of the situation, which is a security issue. There's two security issues. Security issues for Rwanda because of this group of FDLR, and also rhetoric. You heard about the rhetoric of President Tshisekedi promising to overthrow the government of Rwanda, promising to bomb Kigali. So there is a security issue to deal with, and there also a security issue for this Congolese
All right,
community.
well, I think that can be best addressed if we have a representation from both sides, sir. But in a minute, please, because we're about to wind up. Let's talk about what plans Rwanda has to survive, if I would put it like that, because we've seen many countries pulling out, withdrawing aid from Rwanda in retaliation to their, what they say Rwanda is doing in the DRC. And of course, already there is the general problem that so many other African countries are facing, withdrawal of funding, USAID cuts and all of that. So with that, compounded with this withdrawal as a result of the DRC conflict, what are Rwanda's plans?
Well, it's not the first time. They did it in 2012, 2013. Rwandans are a resilient people. We really don't care about those sanctions. We find them regrettable because they don't contribute to a political solution to the crisis. They even embolden the DRC government. But for us, our biggest fear would be not to be able to defend our people, not to be able to defend our territory, and to allow what happened in Rwanda in '94, which was a genocide against the Tutsi, happen again. So we don't really care, and we believe that we will survive no matter what, because we are a resilient people.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. Thank you very much, Mr. Olivier Nduhungirehe,
Yes.
the Rwandan Foreign Minister, for your time and contribution.
Thank you very much.